We're not claiming that the pyramids are 12,500 years old. What we're saying is that the pyramids speak of that very distant date. There's no doubt in my mind that the Egyptians were the inheritors of an ancient knowledge and wisdom. It's absurd to suggest, as Egyptologists do, that these monuments were the creation of the infancy of a civilization. There's a huge accumulated knowledge and wisdom expressed in these monuments. These monuments, to me, are the end of something, not the beginning of something. To me, this almost impossible engineering feat conveys one clear message. Speaking to us across the gulf of ages, what the ancients are saying is we were not fools, and we weren't simpletons dancing after superstitious priests. We will show you our knowledge and precision. We did nothing by chance. Take us seriously.
As far as the new investigators are concerned, this is a message being sent by more than just the pyramids. On the Giza Plateau, in the shadow of the pyramids, lies a weather-beaten monument that has the body of a lion and the head of a man. Carved out of natural rock, there is no exact way of deducing how long it's been here. It is the Sphinx. Egyptologists insist it was made 4,500 years ago, when the three Great Pyramids were built. Others say the Sphinx was actually built 8,000 years before the pyramids, at a time when no civilization capable of its construction should have existed.
All these people, they come by for a day or two to the plateau, and they come by with a theory, and they publish it. The theory has to be crazy. The theory has to be fantastic, because if you make a fantastic theory, you will make money and you will be famous. Many theories like this has been said about the Sphinx, but all of it gone with the wind, because we Egyptologists have a solid evidence to state that the Sphinx is dated to the time of Khafre, the builder of the second pyramid at the Giza Plateau.
Money isn't the issue here. I've been doing this for 20 years without making a bean out of it.
We've got to get to the bottom of this. The issue is to find the truth, and we require several disciplines to find out what all this is all about.
I don't think that Egyptology is up to the task at all. To come to a site like this with a one-dimensional view, a narrow perspective, and to claim that through that narrow funnel we can interpret this site is a grave disservice to humanity, because it's prevented other disciplines from exercising their intelligence here.
Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock join forces with writer John A. West, and together they continue to question whether the Egyptologists' evidence really does add up, like the claim that the head of the Sphinx is a rendering of Khafre. Frank Domingo, a forensic artist, also joins the debate. Working with the New York Police Department, he's an expert in identification and is asked to compare the face of the only known statue of Khafre with that of the Sphinx. His conclusion? The two faces are not even from the same race.
After reviewing all the measurements, angles, and proportions, it's my conclusion that the Great Sphinx of Giza is not the same individual represented in the statue of the pharaoh Khafre.
Despite the controversy, independent investigators are not surprised by this discovery. John West has some outlandish theories of his own about the Sphinx.
Now you look at the head, you see that it's in much better condition than the body. Even though the head is cut of a much harder limestone, the difference between the condition of the head and the condition of the body is extreme. Perhaps even more important, the head is disproportionately small. Seen especially from the air, you see that the body of the Sphinx is long and flattened out, and the head almost looks like a pinhead stuck on the top of it. This, to us, is an indication that the head has been recarved. In other words, the head is not original to the Sphinx. At some point, in its long history, the head was redone.
The investigators have no doubt that the entire Giza Plateau served as some kind of map of the stars as they appeared in the skies in 10,500 BC.
Standing at Giza, the ancient astronomers faced an uninterrupted 360-degree horizon, which invited observations of the rising points of the sun and the stars. Another direction also drew their attention, the north-south line dividing the sky directly above their heads, and they observed the stars as they crossed this line. In 10,500 BC, when the 3 stars of Orion's belt crossed this line, they did so in a pattern that is exactly matched by the pattern of the 3 pyramids on the ground.
They claim the Sphinx is in fact an astronomical marker of the vernal equinox. But again, not as it would have appeared in 2500 BC when the Sphinx was supposedly built.
When the Sphinx is supposed to have been built, 2500 BC, the sun rose in the constellation of Taurus. It would have been utterly absurd for a pharaoh to have built an equinoctial marker in the form of a lion in that epoch. In fact, there's only one epoch when it would have been appropriate for the Sphinx to have been built in the form that it has. That was the age of Leo, beginning in the 11th millennium BC.
Every 2,000 years or so, a new astrological age begins as a different constellation appears behind the sun. The last time there was an age of Leo was 12,000 years ago. Robert Bauval explains.
At this special time in 10,500 BC, the sun would rise due east, directly in line with the Sphinx, at the rising of the constellation of Leo. Here comes the constellation of Leo breaking over the horizon. And here is the sun. So it's at this time, at the age of Leo, that the Sphinx would be gazing at its own image in the sky.
But if that isn't enough, there's more. Why is the Sphinx offset to the right of the main east-west axis of this pyramid, and why is that causeway sloping to the south of east? The ancient pyramid builders did nothing by chance. So what's the significance of this curious offset?
The computer has the answer. It shows us that this is the place where the sun would rise exactly in the direction of the causeway, 14 degrees to the right, in perfect alignment with the causeway. Now what do we have here? To the left is the constellation of Leo, and as we can see, it's half buried below the horizon, with its head and shoulders sticking out. And this is what they saw when they looked in the east, the sun rising along the direction of the causeway, and to the left, the Sphinx, half buried in the sand, with its head and shoulders sticking out of the sand, in the same way that the constellation of Leo would be seen rising over the horizon with its head and shoulders sticking over the horizon line.